that is very important in terms of weight loss, because I think we go through a lot of setbacks. And the topic today is, why is the scale lying to you, right? Have you ever felt where you are doing the right things, you're actually exercising, you are on a caloric deficit, you are thinking, I'm on a really great path, I feel good, and then you get on the scale and it's not moving, or you have 1 or 2 pounds that you've gained. And I think it's important to have that discussion, because when that when you have those things, it really affects the way you feel, you think, you're second guessing yourself. I think when you start actually getting into the groove, things might change, but they might also not. Why? Well, this is what I want to discuss today. Before I begin, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jessica. I engage in conversations about weight loss after losing 100 pounds and engaging in a bit of a transformation in terms of what my body looks like, right? My goal today is to lose fat and gain muscle. So if it's okay with you, I'm gonna go through my notes because it keeps me organized. So I hope that today that we have a little more understanding on why the scale is just one piece of the puzzle in terms of weight loss. So what does the scale actually measure? It measures everything. It measures your bones, your muscles, waist, the fluids, your water, and the food that's sitting in your stomach. That's why a lot of doctors say to you, weigh yourself either in the morning or alternatively, weigh yourself at the same time every time you are weighing yourself. You typically don't lose 1 pound a week. It's typically, you might not lose it, then it might be 2 pounds next week. You might not actually lose anything until you, a month later, and you lost 3 pounds. We also have to differentiate between weight loss and fat loss, because there's a huge difference, right? With fat loss, there is a preservation of muscle. But if your weight loss is weight loss is non-discriminative. You can lose fat, muscle, or bone. That is why it's never really recommended that you lose weight super fast, because that's what happens. You lose very fast. The third part, why your weight changes every day? Well, there is an amount of dependency that you can have in terms of carbohydrate intake. For example, there would be days that you're not having as much carbohydrates as you would be another day. And typically carbohydrates retain a little bit more fluid. That's why actually keto, when you start keto, you typically lose a lot. The scale says that you're losing a lot, but when it's actually not. You're actually losing the first few days, you're just losing water. So that's a bit of a fallacy, because you're not losing really weight. It's just your body's adjusting to the low carbs. Again, carbohydrates has water, more water. Now, there also is an amount of hormonal things that are going on, in terms of, for example, women, when they're, they have, their monthly cycle, people with menopause, girls with menopause, ladies with menopause, stress can be huge. Lack of sleep is also huge. It's amazing what sleep does in terms of your weight, because the less sleep you get, actually the hungrier you are, because your body's tired, your body needs it needs calories to continue, especially if if you have a very sleepless night, then your day is gonna look like a little bit more caloric dense. Exercise, hard workouts do tear up a lot of muscle, and your body sends fluids for them to repair, absolutely. And there might be, again, fluid deviations because of that. Digestion, the fact that you also don't, you might be constipated, that is also can happen in terms of your weight retention. You might not have the bowel movement in a few days, and that does affect your weight, the scale in. Okay. So what is it that we really want to capture when it comes to the scale, or what is it that we're hoping to get out of that information, if I may? So I think you can use it as a marker in terms of, yes, for example, I'm 170 pounds, tomorrow I'm 169 pounds. That can be one marker. But I think it's important to have other markers. For example, your waist circumference, your clothes, do they fit you better? Are you seeing body recomposition? Meaning, are you seeing changes in terms of your arms look leaner, your legs look leaner? Now, I want to also have a little side conversation about those new scales that are now for purchase, where there's a bit of a scan that they do in terms of, like, you download their app, and then they give you all this rich information. I think I like them in terms of that loose information about, so there's two separate fats. There's visceral fat, and then there's the fat that's in your body. I think they do a bit of a competent job at trying to figure that out, but I think there's also an amount of things that we don't want to take too much to heart. It should be in the interest of looking at this as added information and not necessarily as Bible, right? We don't want this to be, oh my goodness, this is what it says and it should be, because I think it might read some people better than others. I don't know that they're 100% accurate. No, I haven't looked at in depth about whether the information is absolutely accurate, but I'm gonna say that probably there's error there that we want to be mindful. I think all things being equal, I think that your scale with additional, measuring and appreciating your appreciating whether you are losing in terms of fat, with your clothes, with how strong you're getting. I think those are true markers. Never mind that they are also not cheap. I think that you can get a scale for $20 and not necessarily spend $100 or $200 on a scale. That might make you feel that, right? So I don't know that it's worth it. I think that there's an amount of information you can get with just very basic tools. Oh, and I forgot. Also, some people take pictures, right? Progress pictures. They take a picture at the beginning of their journey, and then they continue to take pictures every few weeks and then compare them. I've seen people actually have a piece of clothing where they'll wear that piece of clothing at every marker. For example, they'll do one at the beginning, then they'll do a month later, and then they'll continue to do periodically. I don't necessarily weigh myself that often anymore. What I do is I do my waist circumference. I think there's also something we don't want to ignore in terms of the goals that are non-scale. There's two. Your energy level. Are you walking farther? Are you climbing the stairs and it's just now easy? Is your recovery faster? Stamina, are you able to go about your day and actually be able to engage in your day without it being a burden, right? That's value. That means you are getting fitter. Also in the terms of strength, right? Are you lifting heavier? Are you doing more push-ups? Can you carry more groceries? That's another marker that you can have. And can you get off of the floor, right? It takes a lot of muscle to be able to do those function basic things that are very valuable at the end of the day. At the end of the day, this isn't about you looking better. I mean, it is, but that's the superficial thing, right? The I want to look better. Yeah, everybody does, but I think function, the fact that you want to go into you're getting older and older and older, and you want to continue to have the same function to feel better at the end of the day, just as you were when you were young, right? You don't want to feel like you are struggling through your day. So I think that I want to add a personal point of view, because at the beginning of my journey, the scale moved really fast, not really fast, but yeah, it moved. But towards when I started to get closer and closer to my goal, it started to actually not move as fast as before. And there were times or months that it would just not move, no matter what I did. And then it would move. And I think that for me, I had to take into consideration that overall perfection is not what's warranted here. It's consistency. It's continuing to engage in a lifestyle where you want to continue to engage in calorie deficit and continued movement, right? Whatever movement looks to you is perfect, right? Because we don't want to do things that are lofty and things that we are not ready to commit to, right? Okay, so my closing messages. The scale measures more than fat. Water changes every day. Your fluid displacement, right? Muscle changes your body to where it just becomes attractive, right? Or rather, like you get more, it's more compact, and it does weigh more than fat, but it does look appealing, right? Fat loss is different from weight loss. Huge difference, very different. And you measure success in different ways, not just the scale. The scale doesn't necessarily mean that you're losing that you're not winning in the weight loss your weight loss endeavor. What it means is that you're weighing everything. The scale is only one marker. You cannot say I'm losing weight without appreciating that you are losing three things: muscle, fat, bone. You don't want to lose bone. You don't want to lose muscle. You want to lose fat. How do you do that? You have to actually not lose fast. You have to be in enough of a caloric deficit to lose fat, but not enough to lose it so much that you're losing more than the fat. Does that make sense? So for example, if you're not eating for 3 days, that's not a thing. Like you are losing, however, you're losing more than what you want. What everyone wants is to lose fat, your fat percentage to decrease, and for you to have muscle and have bone. Fair? So, okay. So the last thing I think that I want to kind of hear your opinion is, have you ever had a week where the scale didn't move, and what were your strategies in terms of doing in terms of actually engaging in that very thing? The scale is not moving. What things are you doing? For me, I think I want to answer this right away because I think it's important, is that for me, when there's a month, 2 months that the scale's not moving, I actually typically observe like about 2-3 months where the scale won't move. Then I reanalyze what I am eating, because you have to be in a caloric deficit enough, like in a little caloric deficit, not a big one. Because again, I want to change my body and to, being able to have glutes and to have a small waist. Because of that, I cannot be in a caloric deficit that is that's so big. It has to be small, because some of that protein that I'm eating has to repair what I am doing with my weights, with my weight sessions. Fair? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this live, and I will see you next week. I don't know the topic yet. I'm going to find out what would be what I would like to talk about and what you guys would like to say, like have a discussion on. But thank you. I really appreciate your time. Have a good one.